Hey guys, what's up? It's Glasses Senpai here. Anyway, I'm going to talk about how I think the anime industry is going to change in about the next 15 years. Personally, first off, I think we're going to see a lot more 3D animation, kind of like what we have over in America and, dare I say, Europe as well, because we now have anime series like Berserk 2016 and then Ajin, which are solely 3D animation. There's almost no 2D animation whatsoever in those shows. 3D animation become much more common in the next 15 years or so, simply because it's cheaper and you don't have to pay as many artists to produce the same effect. The reason I say this is because if you think about it, it's a heck of a lot more expensive to pay someone X amount of money per keyframe, and then you have to pay other people to do the fill-in frames, and the costs add up really quick. I say this because you could probably knock out half of an episode with maybe around 4 to 20 people working on the 3D animations, as opposed to say the 70 or so that you might need to draw out by hand, and then you gotta go make sure the quality control is really strict or else you're gonna get wobbly frames, which is something you really don't want in your anime. If we look back to 1983 when CGI was first introduced in Go-Go 13, The Professional, we see that there was a helicopter attack scene that was incorporated, and the 3D was kind of bad, but it was 1983, so you can't really blame them. But if we look almost 15 years later in Ghost in the Shell, it used tons of CGI, but it was mixed really well with the traditional art, and this trend continued along with Cowboy Bebop. Now go forward 15 years more, and then we have what we have today in the 2010s, which is Ajin and Berserk. If you look in the backgrounds of the most modern animes, you'll notice that most of those random crowd figures, they're all 3D, and they kind of stick out like a sore thumb when the studio doesn't put the time to blend them in well with their own style. Another thing that I think we're going to see a lot in the next 15 years or so is that other countries are going to really start stepping up their anime game. For example, China has just made a really high quality anime show. It's like basically movie quality, but it's a weekly show. It's called The King's Avatar, and it uses 3D animation, but it's extremely well blended, so you can barely even tell. And another example I'd like to point out is if you look at some of the animations that have been coming out of Thailand lately, they're pretty good. Thailand's been really stepping up their anime game. Although these are mostly people who are coming out of college and they haven't necessarily started their own companies or anything, there is a great potential in Thailand making animations of their own to put on the market. And animations I've seen recently is Circle and Paper Attack. I'll leave links in the description below so you guys can go check them out. It's really cool. I was actually legitimately surprised at the quality that like a couple people just came together and made this animation on their own. So I'd be on the lookout for some Thai-based and some Chinese-based animations in the future. Also, another thing that I think is going to end up changing in the next couple of years is that production's starting to be outsourced from Japan to countries like South Korea. Like right now, in South Korea, they're doing a lot of the keyframes in the animes we're watching today. Also, you can probably expect to see more and more of this production work shifted over to China, Taiwan, and even Thailand as their skills increase. Because currently, with the way animators are getting paid over in Japan right now, it's not too great. I mean, you're going to get paid about $1 a frame, and it's kind of hard to draw even just 7 frames a day, which is only $7 a day. So as you can see, being an animator isn't really a profitable thing over in Japan. So that's why they have to end up outsourcing all these keyframe artists over to these other countries in order to save money on their production. Also because there's kind of a lack of animators in Japan, I believe, right now, due to the fact that you earn nothing as an animator over in Japan, and you always end up working your butt off. I mean, some of these changes might not happen in the next 15 years or so, but I personally think they will, or at least most of them will. With Japan, I think we're going to start seeing a lot of purely 3D based animation, and I think they'll get better at it, and it won't look as bad as what we have now. But I think a lot of the 2D animations that we'll be watching in the next 15 years or so are going to start coming from China and Thailand a lot more than you might anticipate. I'm Glasses Senpai. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.